I'm here with Lori Brand and Olivia Day Wallace, who both went to ThrillerFest, and they're going to share all kinds of stuff about the event. They kind of both went to different things, so I'm super excited to dive into all of the experiences that you both had.
Yeah.
All right,
Thanks for
super.
having us on here. I can talk Filler Fest all day, every day. So I'm
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
excited.
Yes.
Uh,
Well, starting
but
off, have either of you guys been there before, or like what number of times was this for you to go?
this was my third
So
time.
this was my. Is your third? Okay,
Yeah.
this was my second time. I went
Nice.
last year. Yeah, 2 years in a
Yeah.
row.
Cool.
hmm
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you were kind of familiar with it by now.
Yeah. I mean, and the
Yeah.
thing is, too, like, so Thriller Fest is, like, it depends on what you're going for, I think, of what you want to
Hmm.
Mm.
experience. So if you're a writer, I highly, like, recommend the early part of the week doing masterclass, craft fest, getting, like, a series fest
Yeah.
and pitch fest. All the fests together, but it all really is to help around the craft of writing and like being prepared to go out on looking for an agent. And if you are,
Mm.
if you're a fan, I would think coming later in the week is a much better thing. So you're gonna have Thursday, Friday, Saturday, which is much well Thursday night, but that's much more heavy on just authors being there and networking and seeing people and stuff. So it just depends on what experience you find out when you go. Um, I love the whole week. I've gone every year except for this one. I went the whole week.
Yeah. Me
Yeah,
too.
that's so
Okay.
cool. So Olivia, you said you went to Query Fest and Pitch
Yeah.
Fest. Those are separate
So the way it
things.
works,
Yep.
Craft Fest.
Okay.
So they have all these fests together, right? The naming conventions, you know. But
Yeah. Yeah.
so craft is about
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
craft. So what we do in those sessions is that there's deep dive into a topic around the craft of writing. So like one I went to that really stood out to me was around genre blending because that's a new thing that's really hot in the
Uh,
publishing world right now, blending genres. So I went to that. And I was looking more of like a kind of a deeper dive into the craft. But then the other two things I did as an aspiring author, I highly recommend. So query this basically is that I signed up for them. These are individual price. You have to pay for each slot. You can get up to 5 slots, but you have to pay for each one. And it's 15 minutes with an agent or editor. And you submit ahead of time your query, which is what you use as you're coming. If you want to become an author and you want to get an agent, you do a query letter is part of the process to get an agent. So you bring your query and then like your first 5 pages of your manuscript, and they give you feedback. So it's just about like your query letter, what's going to catch their eye, or in the first part of your uh, of your manuscript, like is this enough in the first 2 pages to like catch an agent, that kind of thing. So it's really specific around focus on your work. And then Pitch Fest, we had 61 agents there and editors that are across all these different rooms. And so you get 3 minutes with each person that you want to get in line for. So you should do your research ahead of time. Highly, strongly recommend you do your research ahead of time so you don't waste your time in a line where the agent's like, I won't even represent that. So so basically you have 3 minutes with the agent to say like, hi, my name's Olivia. This is my book. Here's what it's about. And then they ask a couple questions, and then they either say, okay, send me a query, send me a partial, like 25 pages, 50 pages, or send me the full manuscript. So, and I left with no.
Olivia, will you do it for us? Will you do it for us? Will you give us your pitch? Oh, okay.
I would be glad to do
Shoot.
that
Okay.
now.
I was hoping you would.
She
Okay.
tried.
Okay. Okay.
Afterwards, I'll totally share it with you for sure. But yeah, I
Okay.
walked
Okay.
away
All right.
with
You have to do it
Yeah.
four
afterwards.
full
Okay.
requests and two
Okay.
Yeah.
partials for my new manuscript. So which is
Okay.
really
Okay.
great. Yeah, now I just gotta finish it. But so in my
That's so
opinion, it's an
exciting.
investment. It is
Yeah.
definitely an investment. This is not a cheap conference to go to, but it feels like it just feels a little bit like you're investing into the future career because all the networking you get to do, not only with agents but with other authors and editors and publishers and all this stuff. It's truly incredible. And as a fan, I have a fan story later, but like it's amazing. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Nice.
I want to say too, I want to piggyback on what Olivia just said there, right? It's about it being an investment, right, in yourself, right? If you're starting to think that you would like to be a writer, it's not just an investment in networking and in meeting people, but it is
Colleagues.
really an investment in yourself. It's that you're starting to see yourself as a writer. I'm somebody who takes this serious, that you're taking it seriously. I think it's a really for new aspiring authors, it's hard to consider yourself a writer. You know what I mean? It sounds silly, but it is. It's kind of hard to say I'm a writer. So
We hear
going
the
to something
stories
like
from all
this
the
makes you
authors
start
that
to
are there
go,
that went through the same
maybe
thing.
I
They
am a
went through
writer.
Pitch Fest
You
and they
know?
got their agent,
Yeah,
or
Yeah.
they, went
that's
through
cool.
different things. And you've gotten 57 rejections, before they got accepted. Those things are
Yeah.
hugely valuable to a writer early in their career trying to get to where we all want to
Yeah.
go, which is get published.
Yeah. Very much
Yes.
so. And just I want to who I'm just trying to look at. I've got my thing here. I went to a really good. Oh, what's the guy's
That
name?
was
I went
Carter
to a
Wilson. I was in there
really
too.
good
I was the
talk, like the
timekeeper.
psychology of a writer or something like that. And
It was really good.
yes, were you there? That was my okay. That was my favorite one. So what I really liked about it. And I'm gonna get some of these facts sort
Yes.
of wrong, but they're overall right. I think he wrote. Olivia, did he say he wrote like 5 books before one actually got published? It was to hear somebody who's a successful author who has a lot of books out there right now in the world, and to hear that it took him five tries, and then not only
Yes.
that, but then I think
Yeah.
and like some of his earlier books, like I think he sold it, and like the publisher went out of business or something.
Hmm.
So you hear these horror stories, but but to see that he persevered, right? He just got back up and he tried again and again and again.
Yes.
And if there are like people out there who are listening to this who are interested in writing, I mean that's really what writing is. Like if you want to get published commercially, it is getting up again and again and again, and just to hear, and you hear it from so many people. I was there for several days. So many people tell you their journey to publication, and I can't tell you how many people wrote more than one book. Right, their first one they didn't get a queer, or they didn't get an agent for, or they got an agent, but the agent couldn't sell it. It died on submission, or just various things that happened, or like it's
Yeah.
great to realize because you might end up yourself in a similar situation, not to lose hope,
Exactly.
and that
Well,
if these
CJ,
things
they do
happen to
also
you,
like
right,
one-on-one
the same thing
interviews
happened to somebody
with
else, and
certain
look how
people at like
famous they became,
lunchtime and
right? They,
different
they
things.
made it work
So
anyway.
CJ
Yeah.
Box was there, and he talked
Right.
about how he actually wrote one of his books. Wasn't one of his
Yep.
what is in his first one? But like he wrote
Yes.
one, got an agent. Then the agent had it for like 2 or 3 years. This is before like with all like we're doing everything electronically. Agent died and he didn't even know. So if CJ Box can go from not even knowing his
Oh yeah.
agent is passed away to now being where he is at with his series, like it's fine. Like we can all get there. Yeah. It's stuff like that is
Yeah.
really inspiring. Like not that that's inspiring that his agent passed away, but like
Yeah.
that he's
Yeah.
like, okay, well I'm
Yeah.
gonna still keep going, still keep
That's
going, and that is the huge thing. That is it, especially. I mean, Kate, you know this as well
Uh,
because you're writing as well, but it's such a solo experience. It's
yeah.
so you're on your own, and I've recently like I'm still trying to adjust or come back down after ThrillerFest, but personally, I was there and I was
Yes.
like, I feel so great about my book, super confident, really great, like I'm good. And then this morning I was like, oh my god, I'm terrible.
Hmm.
Like I didn't. What is happening? Why am I even thinking about doing this? Who am I? Well, this is a stupid concept. All the things, and it happens so much in your mind. But knowing that other authors and you created a network and you've met other people, that you could just like, hey, I'm kind of losing my
Hmm.
mind here. Actually, talking off the ledge. It makes such a difference.
Yeah. I once had an author tell me, I can't remember who it was now, but it was somebody who was established. It was somebody who had like sold like maybe 8 books or something. It was somebody who I was I don't know, say I was having a hard time with on my second. I'm working on a second book right now, And God, I can't remember if it was a man or a woman, but they said to me, "Don't worry.
Yeah.
Every book
Yeah, that's what
tries
I've
to
heard.
kill
About
itself at least
50%
once."
is the
Like
50% is the
apparently,
kill
like
point.
you're like partway through, you're like, I should just quit. I should just quit. He's like,
Yeah.
every book tries to kill itself at least once.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That is cool though that you got to hear those kind of stories because it's like everything's so overwhelming,
Yeah.
especially when you're working. Like I'm just working on my first
Yeah.
story ever, basically, and so it's like I have all the head trash of like I've never even finished a manuscript. Like that's never even happened. So I don't even have the like part in my head that's like, oh, you've done this before. Like you'll be able to
Yeah.
finish it. So it's like even just like sitting down and writing, like you were saying like, this morning for you, Olivia, like same thing. Like I was writing before this, and I was like, this is all just stupid though.
Yeah.
I'm like, but these words don't even matter. Like, are these words even good?
You
But
know,
it does. It's so
one of
helpful
the
to have people to talk to.
You know what was a really good somebody
Yeah.
once told, actually I know where I got this one. I got this one off of the podcast The Shit No One Tells You About Writing. Write a crappy first draft. Just plow ahead, get it done. Doesn't if you think it's not working out, just plow ahead, work it out in edits when you're done.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was
Hallie and I were talking about that because we've like heard that. And both of us are like, but is it supposed to be this shitty? Like when we look at what we've written.
Oh, I was talking about like writing. You know, there's this idea of like write the shitty first draft. I think like Anne Patchett said that, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try this time every 10,000 words draft and then go back and revise and draft and revise. Because I don't know if that's going to work well or not, but that's what I'm going to try this time because I lose track of things. Like you probably probably experienced this, but like you put a clue somewhere. Unbelievable. I can't. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. You're totally okay.
Okay.
But so you put a clue up somewhere, but then you forget about it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm trying to how can I make it a little bit more efficient for myself while still being able to be pantsing and discovering.
So you know what I do? I have a side Excel sheet going on. So I have each chapter as a row in an Excel document because sometimes I'll think of something, but I won't want to. I just want to keep going ahead, or there'll be something I want to note, and so I'll make a note like chapter 3. You know, I don't know. Should this be happening? Question mark or something.
Yeah.
Or some clue that I'm going to want to pop in later. You know, like make sure to use this later or something in future scene. Like I'll put a little note in an Excel doc, and then I'll just plow ahead. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good
smart.
idea.
That's
Yeah,
really smart.
it helps. Yeah. I didn't do that the first time.
You're
Yeah,
learning.
you learn a lot in your first book out of all the things.
yeah.
Like, oh, I don't want to do that again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Lori, you did Craft Fest as well.
I did.
Well, you guys both did that?
We both did Craft Fest, but I also did Masterclass. So Masterclass is on Tuesday. It's like the first official thing. And that's an individual, that's a class of up to 10 people. And you have a master teacher, like somebody who's well known. You know, like last year I did it, and Mary Kubika, who is like the nicest person ever, she was our master class teacher. This year, my master class teacher was Hank Felipe Ryan, and you get to select like your top 3. There's maybe 10 or 8 or something to choose from, and you're supposed to pick your top 3. I actually said, can I just pick one? I actually wrote down like, I'm just going to pick Hank Felipe Ryan, and if that's not okay, let me know. So then I got
That's amazing.
yeah, but anyway, and then what we did do is, so Hank did hers kind of different than Mary Kubika's last year. So Mary Kubika's, so ahead of time, the first 10 pages of everybody's manuscript gets sent out, and then we all the students review it, and then in the class in Mary Kubika's, we all reviewed each other's. Like we would take turns. Like we'd all, like as a class, we would review one, and then we'd move on to the next. And she kind of like led the discussion, but like other people got to say things too. And it was really powerful if like you thought something made sense, and like 8 people were all like, I don't understand what's going on here. Like that was like your big tip off that it really doesn't make sense, right? And then Hank didn't we didn't go into each individual manuscript so much as we talked about she more like lectured on like the story process and like different parts of a story, but then she would reference the manuscripts, like she'd say like as so and so did in this one or so and so did in that one. And then because we didn't do a deep dive into the individual manuscripts, she was offering a half hour with each person as an individual. So like I have a one-on-one coming up with her this Friday for a half an hour where she will give me personalized feedback on those first 10 pages. So that's kind of nice.
That is cool. Amazing. Hank is someone who, like, she does that. I don't even know how she keeps up with, like, her inbox.
I don't know either.
She's everywhere. Doing all the things. And always, like, just email me directly. And I'm like, wow, you just want hundreds of people to email you. Okay.
Did you take her class too?
So
did you take her?
I've taken other classes where she's been the instructor. Last year I had Claire McIntosh as my instructor. Before that I had David. And they both did it very differently. So I think each instructor gets to choose how to do it.
Yeah. So you know what I heard about J.D. Barker's class last year? I didn't take his, but one of my friends took his. And you can tell me if this is true if the same thing happened at the one that you took, okay? So my friend said, everybody starts off with their hand in the air, and then each person. Okay, and then you have to, like, Kate, if you wrote your first 10 pages, so all 10 of us have our hands in the air, and then you start to read your manuscript. And then we're all supposed to put our hands down. You put your own hand down whenever you would quit reading, whenever you put the manuscript down. And so
you get bored, or you're just like, I don't want to read.
And so, like, different hands start to come down at different points. And the person who I know, she said, like, she felt it was really intimidating. She was like, oh my God, you know, because I think like all the hands were down by the time that like she got to her second page or something like that. So it was a big tip off for her. Yeah, it was a big tip off for her that like maybe she needed to work on that first page, right?
Oh man,
but it was powerful. It was totally powerful.
I bet.
Right?
Very powerful. It was a powerful moment, like being in there in that session. Like when I did it, it was my first time at ThrillerFest. It was my first ever anything. So my last book was the first work of fiction I've ever tried to write.
Yep.
I think
that was hers too.
Quarter of the way in. Yeah. So quarter of the way in, like definitely was going to ThrillerFest for learning. Like I was going to conference, I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing, right? So I took master class, and so that was the first time anyone had ever heard or seen any of my work.
So you had no calluses, right? You had no calluses.
Like,
okay.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, I'm getting some rejections coming.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was interesting, but the way Claire did it, she did it very much like Mary, like you were saying.
Okay.
We went through every manuscript and kind of went in depth about what was going on, and then tied it back to overarching themes around structure and pacing and different things like that.
Yeah.
So I think masterclass it's an extra fee, but to me it was really worth it. Like I really enjoyed it, and now like Claire McIntosh, I say hi to her. She knows who I am, and it's like great because I can be like, hey, you know, whatever. So it's just it's a worthwhile thing to learn from somebody who truly is an expert.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah,
I gotta say one more thing about Hank Felipe Ryan. What a nice person she is too. Okay, so last year was my first ThrillerFest, and I was trying to get Kate the elevators at the hotel just suck. Okay, they completely suck. There's all sorts of problems with the elevators. And so somehow I got like lost. I got turned around. The elevator wasn't working. I don't know what was going on, but somehow I was late to get to some panel that I really wanted to go to. You know, like there was one that I really wanted to go to, and I remember I finally came out of the elevator. And I was looking around. I must have looked really confused and maybe a little bit frantic. I don't know. I was like looking around like this. There was nobody else around or anything because they were all in the classes. But Hank was out there, and she turned and she looked at me and she said, "You look lost." And I said, "I am lost. And so I told her where I was trying to get. She kind of put her arm around me. She's like, you need to go over here. And she kind of like led me that way. You know what I mean? Like she didn't trust me to like get around the corner and find the right place because I was like completely scattered. But she kind of like shepherded me around the corner. Go right through that room. And I was like, oh, okay. But yeah. Yeah, it's my first time I met her. Yeah.
I have two similar stories. One was last year. I did Query Fest with my last manuscript, and one of the agents like eviscerated me. Like I was like, okay, like eviscerated.
Really?
It's unnecessary.
Yeah, like what? Really?
I mean, literally was like, I got nothing out of these pages. Just kind of tossed it at me. It was bad. So I was like, different response than I've gotten elsewhere, but okay, good to know. So I'm like walking down the hall, and I'm super. I obviously was on my face, and I was just like, what just happened? And Claire McIntosh saw me in the hallway, and she's like, wait, what's going on? How, like, this was after I had her masterclass. She stopped me. I wanted to talk and, like, see what's going on and, like, try to give me some words of encouragement, which was really nice. Which I thought that was amazing. She didn't have to do that. Like,
no,
it was awesome. And then this year, I started doing Pitch Fest, and my first two pitches didn't go so great. And so I was like, I feel like my idea is pretty good. So I was like, this doesn't really seem, I'm doing something wrong. And I was walking out, and then there was a group of ITW staff members and Danielle Gerard. They were standing in a circle, and I kind of walked up and was like, you know, I don't know what's going on. And they were like, give us your pitch. So I gave the pitch. They told me a couple of ideas how to rework it, and then I started getting requests when I went back. Like, that is how amazing this community is. They literally will just stop. Like, something's wrong. Let's see how we can help you. It's unbelievable. Sometimes in ThrillerFest it feels like you're in a parallel universe.
Yeah.
And then there's like cool, a cocktail party like every night on top of it. Yeah. Right? So like all day long you're like thinking, like working. And then at night you go and you have like a couple of drinks. You know, it's like an exhausting like few days, but it's fun. Yeah.
Randomly, like it's related, but when I decided a few years ago I wanted to start a podcast where I interviewed authors, Ashley Winstead was like the second one that said yes.
Okay.
It was so wild. Like In My Dreams had just come out. But anyway, so she was on the podcast, but I like always remember especially when people tell stories like what you guys just did. I always remember her telling me, I don't even know if it was on air. It might've been when we were talking after it. She was like, the thriller community is amazing. Yes. And she was like, all the authors are nice. Like most of the readers are really nice and supportive. And so she like mentioned it back then, and I was like, oh, that's really cool to know, because I just like at the time, this was like 4 years ago, like I was like, I don't know if people are gonna respond to me when I have like 2 podcast episodes. And then when she came back for, I can't remember which one it was, she was even saying I think she didn't do that one, so it must have been when she did Midnight is the Darkest Hour. She was talking about how she had experience in the romance community now, and she was like, I can't say that it's the same over there. And I was
I've heard that they're not very nice.
That a lot too.
I've heard that. Yeah. I think
it's because we get all of our anger and darkness out on the page. Right. So all this stuff is like happiness, and they're just writing all happy things. So then they're like, So here in thrillers, it generally feels like in mystery thriller suspense, all of it. It generally feels like everybody wants to pull up the next person behind them. Yeah. And because we know thriller readers are voracious. They will read like books, like a couple books a week or whatever. Yeah. So there's room for everybody, so it doesn't feel as carnivorous, I think, as some of the others.
Yeah.
So this is my guess, because I don't know the
Yeah.
Who knows? But I love like it's almost a dichotomy that like the thriller people are the really nice ones. I love it.
Yeah.
It's very true.
So do either of you guys have like a most memorable moment from this ThrillerFest, or you may have shared it already?
I have one that's not it's a smaller moment, but it was really big for me, kind of, just because it was like holy. Oh, that's right. I can survive.
Say it. Just say
it.
it.
Okay. So my I'm actually not going to give any clues, so I don't give away who this person is. I'll just say it's a woman, right? And
Okay.
so I found out from that. So she was having she's an author, and she wrote a book, and her publishing house was having an audiobook created of it, right? There's narrators. Her narrator, and hers was told it was a dual POV. It is out now, but this happened a while before it was out. But it was a dual POV, man and a woman. And the woman who I know, who was the author who wrote the book, she ended up getting a divorce from her husband. And the book is fiction because it's a thriller, right? But she takes a lot of like the falling apart of her marriage, and she kind of channeled it into this book, right? Because she just did. Anyway, so the female auditor, narrator told
Audio.
her, audio
Oh.
person, the female narrator told her that thanks to your book, I'm getting a divorce, because while I was reading it, I realized that your husband, or that your fake husband in that thriller book was my real husband in real life, and so being in that book, she's now getting a divorce.
Oh my gosh.
And my friend was like, thank you. What do you even say? Like, do you say thank you? I don't know, right? Like,
You're welcome.
You're happy about that. That's great. I'm super excited.
apparently she was happy about it. But my friend was like, oh my gosh, my book made my narrator get a divorce. And she filed. The narrator filed by ThrillerFest. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But anyway.
Oh my
woo,
gosh.
Yeah.
I think in a million years I never would have guessed that story. I
Yeah.
love that story.
Now I got to hear a book on audio. I've not heard it on audio.
Yeah.
I normally don't listen to audiobooks, but I totally want to listen now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. That was
so
my
for
weirdest.
me,
Yeah.
For me was so I try to be pretty cool around most authors. Like, like these are people that I want to have as my colleagues. I don't want to freak them out by being freaking out over them.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
I couldn't control myself. So Kimberly Howell was interviewing Louise Penny, as she was like one of the grandmasters, and I was sitting in the front row, and I was listening to her, and I'm like wrapped in it, like just so wrapped in everything that she's saying. And she's describing in one of the books in the Montgamash series, which she writes. There's a book that's set in a monastery. So she was explaining how the research she did for the monastery and how it felt and all these things, and it really evoked the same emotion that I had when I was reading the book as she was describing it. So she was an incredible like storyteller and scripter. And so after they're like, do you have any questions? And I like raised my hand immediately. And then I was like, asking her about the food that she does in the book. Because those books are like amazing. So anyway, I was super excited. Then she got cut short. So then I went back and I saw her later at the signing. So I went to actually talk to her about my book. And I was explaining, my best friend gave me the first book in her series, Still Life, about 7 years ago now. And it got me back into reading, which brought me to this point of where I want to be a writer. Like it brought it all back to me. And so I was explaining that to her. And then I like started crying. Oh, that's like
Yeah.
So that was my moment. She was so sweet, so nice. Like,
Yeah.
But I was like, I definitely lost my cool.
That's so powerful, though.
That's all right.
Like, that's like such a big feeling. I
Yeah.
process a lot of big feelings by crying, so.
Yeah.
Good, bad, all of it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
so
that was
cool.
one of my favorites. Yeah. Also, if you go to ThrillerFest, the thing to know is the bar is where everybody hangs out. So there's the cocktail party that's provided. And then I think at the hotels, I think they're going to have it in a new location next year.
Oh, are they? Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Okay, because of the elevators? Because of the elevators?
I don't know.
It's got to be because of the elevators. And then, oh my God. Yeah, and then
Go.
not only that, but when I first got there too, oh my God, I forgot about this. Okay, so when I first got there, I got there on Monday. I flew in on Monday because I had the master class on Tuesday. And I had, Kate, it was with you. I had that podcast with you. Remember I said I was kind of hot? Remember I said I was kind of hot?
Yes.
Turns out the air conditioning was broken. So I'm talking to Kate, and as I'm talking to her, I have to like take off my sweater, and I had like sweat right down my back by the end of it, and I called down, and they couldn't fix. They had to like send a mechanic up. There was something like grossly wrong. They had to like take apart a vent, and like there was like, but yeah, like so like the air conditioning wasn't working in my room. It broke another time while I was there. I don't know what's up with that hotel.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I wasn't making it up when it was hot. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I would have died.
It's a great location. Also, I'll give it that's a great location. But yeah, they don't have
room service.
Have room service. So as an author, one night I got into a flow. Literally, you guys, I wrote 7,000 words in one night. Like it was.
Holy moly!
I was in it, right?
So
and I had to stop to go get food because they don't have room service. And I was like, and they don't have microwaves or refrigerators in the room. You can rent a refrigerator if you want. And
so my room had a refrigerator this time for some reason. My room had a refrigerator.
Were you in the side towers or were you in the main?
I have no idea. I don't know. I was in room 2050. I still remember the number.
Yeah. Okay. Well, either way, though, some do and some don't. It's
last year I didn't have a. Last year I did not have a refrigerator. Yeah. So I was pleasantly surprised to see one. Yeah.
Fingers crossed, the next one is a little bit easier.
They need a better hotel.
Yeah. What's great about like going to something like this, and especially if you go like maybe a little bit early or maybe stay a couple days after, is you're in the zone. It's like your mind is churning with all of the different things that you could be doing and ways to fix your book and like ideas and all of this stuff.
Yeah.
So adding on either side, my experience, it's been really helpful because then I get to like, I'm just in the book or whatever. So yeah, I definitely recommend that. So I hope the hotel next year has room service.
Yeah,
so
me too.
And again, I don't have to stop.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But,
so I can't 100%. I keep failing to remember. You guys told me at the beginning which things you guys went to.
Okay.
And I
well,
can't remember who didn't go to
right?
something.
They're all fast.
Right. They're all fast.
Yeah.
But did you guys have a favorite panel that you went to?
I'm going to say my favorite. So I actually posted to it on Instagram. If anybody, I hardly posted anything. I suck. I should have posted way more. But I did video my favorite one. It was called Headbutt, Drop Kick, or Chokehold. Writing realistic fight scenes. I knew this was the one. Yes. And oh my God, they acted out. Oh golly, what's this guy's name? Greg. What's his? I'm actually look it up. His name is Greg Podolsky's. His book, The Recruiter, a Rick Carter novel. He read his fight scene out loud, and the other people on the panel were like a stuntman, a guy who like owns like an utility store or something. I don't know what, or like I don't know, but like these guys like acted out the scene. It was really cool. I thought it was really super fun. It was a great time. Also, I was on a panel, so that was really fun too. I was on one called what was it called? It was called, I gotta look it up. It was called Bourbon, Champagne, and Cocaine: Characters and Their Vices. And so I was on that, and one of the people on it with me was Lisa Reagan, and we found out that at the beginning we had to each say something unusual about ourselves that nobody might know. So there was like four of us. We each, say our thing, but hers, apparently she won $50 in a boxing contest at a bar or something. She went to some bar where they were supposed to have a boxing. I might be getting this somewhat wrong. She went to some kind of thing where there was supposed to be a fight, or maybe she went to a fight where there were drinks. I don't know what. But anyway, her boxing coach was in charge of the other person. And the other person couldn't show up or didn't make it, or I don't know what. They needed somebody to do it. And he was like, "Oh, you'll do it, right? You'll do it." And she said, "All right, fine, I'll do it." This is a long time ago, she said. And so she did it, and she won $50 because she won the fight.
That's amazing.
That's Lisa Reagan. Yeah. Regan, man. Lisa Reagan. So
this is a shameless plug that Lori's book has some amazing action scenes at the end.
Some fight scenes.
So I'm just going to say it so that everybody knows.
Yeah, I like realistic fight scenes.
I'm very excited.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about it. I was just reading the synopsis before this, and I was like, oh, you are just speaking my language.
Okay.
With the diet industry and all of this stuff. Like,
yeah.
I'm very excited.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that was a super popular panel. I heard everybody talking about it. I wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing, I went to Craft Fest and I went to a couple of sessions, but because I was doing Query Fest that day, you have
Yeah.
appointments, so they were in the middle of a lot of sessions, so I didn't actually go to as
Yeah.
many as I wanted. And then
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Friday was I left early because I had to go
Okay.
home. So I got like a family on Saturday. So I didn't get to go
Okay.
to as many panels as I wanted. But I really enjoyed the genre blending ones. It was from an
Okay.
agent. His name is Mark Giovanni, and he
Oh
kind of went
yeah.
through kind of what the direction that we're going in, and like what is selling, and this whole genre blending thing, like romantasy, right, or
Mm-hmm.
speculative thriller, or horror thriller, things like that. So that was really cool. Um, and then Tosca Lee also did a really great session on dialogue, which is
Mm.
always so tough to,
Yeah.
to try to get right, because you have to have like everyone has their own personality and stuff. So that was really good as well. I really liked that. And then two more things I was thinking of. One, I went to the Mysterious Bookshop that they have on site,
Yep. Mm-hmm.
and I spent far too much money. I was like,
Me
I'm saving for
too.
ThrillerFest, I'm saving for ThrillerFest, and I bought way too much.
Yeah.
But it's so fun. I love walking around there and not only being like, I know that person. I've
Mm.
read that, I have that because we're waiting for this one, all of those things. It's such a fun experience, and you're with all the people that are in the same boat that all feel that way, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think a couple of years ago, my first year, I was standing in the Mysterious Bookshop, and I was standing next to a man who was looking at a book, and he told me, "Oh, this is my book. It was his debut." And it's Taylor Moore. He
Oh.
writes like a Western kind of thriller series.
Uh-huh.
So
Uh-huh.
I was standing next to him. He's like, "This is my book," and I was like, "Oh my god, I'm so excited!" Like, got to talk to him about his debut and like having the
Uh-huh.
moment where he had come the last time he'd been at the conference. He stood in the bookshop and was like, "One day my book will be here," and
Uh-huh.
then he was standing there. The book was there that day. Like, it's I mean, so many stories
Love
like that.
that.
So cool, so
I,
cool.
I got
Yeah.
to piggyback on what you're saying right there. So they also have something on Saturday called the debut author
I was gonna ask
brunch.
you. Yes,
Yes. So I went to, so I'm not on it this year because my book comes
next
out
year.
June 11th. So I would be on it
Oh
next year.
yeah.
But it's very inspirational. You know, you go, so everybody goes, right? It's like everything's full, right? And they have, so we all sit at like maybe at tables of eight, but then there's a great big table up in front with like, gosh, they probably had, did you, no, it's right, you were gone this year for that. They probably had, I'm going to say,
They usually
28
have like
debut
20.
authors.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, a
yeah.
lot, right? They had and
It's a lot.
these are all people whose books who are brand new authors. They were debuts and their books launched, and it's so inspirational to see these people up on that stage and think, one day I'm going to be there, right? Like, it's just
Yeah.
Mm.
very inspirational, and you can just see how happy they are. And then if you've read somebody's book, sometimes like it'll be a book that you read that you were really impressed by, and so then now you know what they look like, and so like later on if you see them in the hall you can say, hey, I saw I read your book, I saw you up there, and they will be more than happy to talk to you, especially
Yeah.
they're a
Oh
debut
yeah.
author. If you say, I read your book, I saw you, they'll be like, tell me more. you know
Yeah.
so yeah, yeah,
I
Well, and they
wonder
have
when
this
that
great.
ever goes away.
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know. Will it ever go? I don't know that that
I
would ever
don't
go
know that it
away.
will for.
I feel like,
Yeah.
but
yeah.
but ICW, part of so ICW itself has a program called the Debut Authors Program. So the breakfast is part of that. But then they get mentorship all year round. Like this
Mm-hmm.
group,
Oh.
they're like a class together, a cohort. They get mentorship from like Lisa Gardner and like other like big names, whatever. And they're talking about what the first year of the debut year is like, and things to do, not to do, how to support, what is normal, what's not normal, things like that. Because publishing is such a mystery, and so I love that ICW does this and that we celebrate them at ThrillerFest. It's one of my most favorite things, and I was bummed to
Mm-hmm.
miss it this year because I agree, Lori. Like seeing them up there
Yeah.
every year, I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be there. Like it
Mm-hmm.
feels like it's a North Star. Like that's where I'm going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. I would. I feel like I'd be the one like getting choked up for people, just like
Oh
being around
yeah.
those kinds of
Well,
feelings.
one of my friends, so
So
one of my
hard. Sorry.
friends, Yeah,
Yeah.
KT. I'm gonna spell her. I'm gonna have to spell her last name. It's like
I think you win.
NGUY. Yeah,
Yin.
I can't spell it right, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Win,
do you
yeah.
know her? Okay. So anyway, so
Yeah.
she her book. You know what you did, right? It launched in I think April this year. But so I met her last year at ThrillerFest, and when she was up there, everybody gets like a minute or something to say something. But when she was up there talking, I actually was like, I felt like a little surge of like pride and happiness. I mean, I almost got a little teared up. I was like, "You
Yeah.
go, Katie, you go!" And I
Yes.
noticed that her
Yes.
outfit, what maybe not everybody noticed, her outfit matched her book. She had
Oh
so
my
her
gosh.
book is black and lime green. She was wearing a
Mm-hmm.
black top and a lime green like skirt or pants or something. But
Oh my
I love
gosh.
that.
I was like, you go. She's very stylish, you know. But yeah,
Yeah.
I got a little choked up. Nobody knew because I was sitting down at a table. But yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Hmm.
Oh, that is so
Yeah,
cool.
it is
Did
really
you have
cool.
any
It's such a cool
fangirl
thing.
moments? I feel like
Sorry.
you kind of said you kind of maybe fangirled already, but
Oh, did I have any fangirl moments?
did you see anyone where you were just maybe not like you turned into a fangirl, but was there anyone you saw and you're like, oh my God?
So let me see. So the the biggest people who so yeah, but I didn't talk to like I didn't
Mm-hmm.
specifically talk to Ruth Ware. Like I saw her like 20
Yeah.
feet away. But you know who I was really excited to see? I bought Samantha Bailey has a book coming out, but I bought her book, and you to have her sign it, and
Mm-hmm.
she said, "Oh, Lori," and she got up because we follow each other on Instagram. But I was like, "Oh my gosh," she
Nice.
like recognized me. She like, came around and she like gave me a hug, and I was like, "Oh, that's really nice," you know. Because
Mm-hmm.
I just thought that was kind of cool. Or you know who? And this isn't a fangirlish type of thing because this is a guy, but you know who is the nicest person in the whole wide world? Do you know who I'm going to say, Olivia?
I'm interested to know.
S.A.
'Cause I have
Cosby.
Oh my
S.A.
God, he really,
Cosby.
he
He's
genuinely is
he
the
is
nicest
the
freaking dude ever.
nicest person in
He's
the
amazing.
world. In the world. In the world.
That's what everybody says.
He's so nice.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I mean everybody wants to talk to him. I mean by the time the guy's done there, he must be exhausted, right?
He's
Oh, I
gone. He's
bet.
exhausted. I saw him
But
get
he's
cornered
so
in a bar,
gracious. Yep.
like in the bar downstairs. And he was there, and
Yep.
I was waiting for food or whatever. And it was
Yep.
like 20 minutes of this like guy just talking to us.
Yep. Yep.
I was just like
Wow.
listening or whatever, and I was like, man,
Yep.
should I go try to save him? One, but
Yeah.
two, I was like, I can't imagine how much he gets because
Yep.
he's just
Yep.
so amazing.
He's so gracious and he's humble, he's kind. I know he blurbed KT's book. You know, I know KT had asked him to
Mm-hmm.
blurb her book, and he blurbed her book. He just when I've only spoken to him a handful of times, you know, but when I've talked to him, he's been like just so genuinely nice and kind. Yeah,
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 very genuine.
yeah.
But I mean, most of the like I started thinking about like all these authors there. I was like, well, Jennifer Hillier, and she's super nice.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
I was walking by JT Ellison, and I was able to give her a hug, which was so great. I've seen her twice now, both at ThrillerFest, both times for less than 30 seconds. I
Uh-huh.
wasn't able to spend time with her, but
Uh-huh.
it was like nice being like, okay, like hi, I see you, whatever. So
Uh-huh.
it's just it's unbelievable. It's like if you're wanting to be around like a bunch of celebrity authors, like there's no other place.
Right. I mean, there's
Oh, yeah.
like New York Times best-selling authors, and there they are, like 2 seats away from you at the bar. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And they'll talk
exactly.
to you if you say hi.
They talk to you, and they will ask you, "What's your book about? What are you doing?
Yeah,
Like, what are you
yeah,
having to do?
yeah,
How's the pitch go? All of these things.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's insane. And there were bookstagrammers there too. I will say, like I
Yep.
saw Scared Straight Leap, I saw Dennis, I saw Robin Reed, Robin, KT, Kate.
That Tim guy,
God,
the Tim books, the Tim Talks books or whatever. He was there too.
Yeah. Thriller book
Yeah.
addicts. Like there's like a
Uh-huh.
bunch of people that were there that are bookstagrammers, and it's so cool too because they're just talking to like it's all just buddies. Like it's just buddies
Yeah.
with everybody. It's like it's mind blowing. It's very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a kind of random question. Are either of you introverts?
Yes.
I am and I'm not. How about you?
Okay.
Okay, Olivia, you go first. You say what you are. How so?
So
Just straight up?
yeah, I'm an introvert, but my job and my career path has always required me to be extroverted. So
Yeah.
I can turn this on. But when we get
Yep.
done here, I'm exhausted. So
Yep.
That's what I was
when
gonna
I'm at
ask.
ThrillerFest,
Yep.
yeah, oh my God, it is exhausting. So people
Yeah.
like to go out and like go to bars all night and like go dancing
Right.
Yeah.
and all this stuff. That ain't me. I'm like, I make it
Yep.
till 10, and then I'm like, I
Yeah.
gotta go to bed because I'm so drained, so exhausted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the
That
same
was gonna be
way.
our question.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm the same way. Yeah.
I'm
We
like,
went
I
out
don't
one
function
night.
well when I don't
Yeah.
get sleep too. So
No,
it's like,
I need not just sleep, but like some quiet time, right? Just some
Yes.
quiet time to
alone
like read, to
Yes.
write, or just even just to look at cats on Instagram, right? I just need like some quiet
Mhm.
time,
yes,
you know?
yes,
Yeah,
totally.
I'm not gonna lie. One night I definitely took an edible and played Pokemon Go in my hotel room by myself, and
Okay.
it was a glorious
That
night
is a
because I
vibe.
was just like, just relax, like just
Okay.
chill out. It was amazing.
Yes.
I had two
I
drinks one night. I came back. So KT had organized like a dinner with
Mhm.
and like originally I think it was just like a handful of people, but then like people invited people and invited people. There ended up being like 20 people in this thing, right? And so like we went out
Yeah.
and it took like forever to get the table. Then like we all talked a lot at dinner, and then we came back. But through the whole course of everything, I had two drinks, and for me having like two drinks is like getting like
Me too.
crazy, right?
Yeah.
I like went back to the hotel room and I was like, whoa, yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Really partyed it up. See, that's the great
Yeah.
thing about introverts, and that like if you're
Yeah.
not drinking a lot and stuff too, they just have
Yeah.
really low tolerance for cheap dates.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I know.
Yeah, but it is very common. Actually, we talk about it a lot. Like, we're in a room full of introverts. Like, so don't be afraid to go talk to somebody because everybody else is afraid to talk to somebody else too. So it's okay.
Right.
Like those things. And then I would
Well, and
also
like
say, good.
what I've also always said about like everyone that I've met now on Bookstagram or through the podcast is like we're talking about the shared interest that we really like, which is like in introversion that does give you energy versus like the
Yeah.
small talk and the just
Yeah.
like let's talk about nothing but I have to talk because I'm sitting next to you or whatever. Like
Yeah.
Yes.
I am more extroverted around a bunch of people that have the same interest as me too, which is what it feels like the whole thing would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just it's incredibly comfortable. Like that's the only thing I can really describe. It's just comfortable to be there, even when you're like, I don't know, I'm shy, because somebody will probably come up and talk to you, or you just walk up to a group of people in the cocktail party, stand there, and then people will be like, hi, who are you? Blah, blah. Everybody wants that, so everyone is doing it. It is for a social setting, it is the most comfortable I am in any social setting, I would say, for a long time.
Yeah.
So
Right. That's cool.
Yeah, I kind of like almost like lost my voice. Like by the time I got home, like on
I bet.
Monday, I got home late Saturday night, but on Monday I had like a 7 a.m. meeting at my work, like a Zoom meeting. And I was like talking, and like my voice was like kind of raspy, you know.
yeah.
Yeah.
True. After I got done on Thursday night, I went out to dinner with a bunch of friends. But by the time we got done with that, after I'd done Pitch Fest during the day and queried some, like all of the different things, like, yeah, I lost my voice. It was just like barely anything was there because we talked so much and everybody was like, it's just, I don't know. It's so
And it's
amazing.
really loud. You got to like talk over everybody
It is
too,
loud.
right? Yeah. Poor acoustics.
Yeah.
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 I have a different hotel. Okay.
Yeah, but we're gonna, hopefully until next year, hoping it's a little bit better. We'll see.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Did
Right.
either of you guys find
What
out
is it?
about a book? Oh,
Did we what?
sorry, go
No.
ahead.
Don't know what did you say. Go ahead.
Did any of you guys find out, either of you guys, any of you guys, find out about a book that you didn't know about before you went? That you're excited for?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hold
That was a
on. I'm
long
gonna
sentence.
hold on. I'm
I'm
actually gonna
gonna
look.
have to go look at the stats.
Right,
Okay.
I know. I've got the stack in the other room. Actually, should I go get the stack? I wonder. Should I go get my
Yeah,
stack?
you can. Yeah.
I'll be right back.
I can
I'm
get
gonna go get the books that I bought. Hold on.
So, this is just like the stack of books.
Oh my
I got
gosh.
while I was there. And I
Just
put
a few.
couple away. Just a few. I mean, it was quite a bit. Sorry, that's not great for podcasting. But anyway, so there were.
Oh, it'll work on YouTube.
They are. Let's see. The Den by Kara Reinhardt. I've never heard of it, and I saw it on the shelf in in the mysterious bookshop, and I was like, that's really interesting.
Ooh, that's
Like
pretty.
auburn hair with pearls, and I was like, well, what is this? So that's a new one
Yeah.
that I had not heard of about sibling rivalry. And then actually, Pub Day is today for Such a Bad Influence by Olivia Munster.
Yes.
I think that's how you say
Mm-hmm.
her, Munter. Anyway, so this was also one that was hot for people that wanted, because there was a table there. You get free books like all while you're at the conference, like crazy. But there
Oh,
was a
okay.
table you can actually exchange books at. Like if you got one that you're
Mm,
like, this isn't for me, but I see that this other one is, you could do that. And
yeah.
so that book, Olivia's book, Such a Bad Influence, was a very hot commodity.
Wow. I mean, I love
Yeah,
the cover. The cover's so cool.
yeah, I agree. I agree. Yeah, those are some of the books that I got. Just, it's so fun.
That's all.
I hope
I
you go. I
know.
hope you go next year. So
I
we
know.
can hang
I've got to
out,
make
we
it
can see all the
happen.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it sounds amazing. And it'd be so
Hmm.
cool to meet a lot of people that I've like met so
Yeah.
far.
All right, I
Yeah,
can't find all
exactly.
of the stack. I can't find all the stack, but I can find part of the
That's
stack
okay.
because I think I've moved it around. So I'm excited to read A Friend in the
Ooh,
Dark
yes.
by Samantha M. Bailey. Very excited to read this one. I'm
It is
excited
good.
to read The Drowning Woman by
Oh, that's
by
good.
Robert.
Robin.
She also wrote The Haters, right? I
Yes.
think.
Hmm.
Okay, I have an arc of The
That's coming
Haters,
out in
right?
July. Yeah.
Yes, I've got
Nice.
an arc of that. And I can't wait to read that one. And then what I also wrote, I'm gonna have to look it up, or what not wrote, what I also bought by another Blackstone author. I gotta find it on here. I can't believe I can't find it. I think her name is Bowen. I'm gonna find it, and then also Carter Wilson's book, right? Remember I bought one. I bought one of his books. Actually, I'll go to Blackstone because I know it's a Blackstone
Yeah.
author.
It's just like once you start going to the sessions, then you're like, oh,
Yeah.
I want to buy this person's book, or you meet them and they're super nice. So,
Yep.
like for
Yeah.
me, I bought this book, The Syndicate Spy, and that is
Ooh.
the author of this, Brittany Butler, is a former CIA agent, field agent, and she has a Instagram channel where or Instagram page where she
Yes.
talks about all the things that are going on for real right
I
now,
met her
and gives her
last
perspective.
year.
So I met her in an elevator, and I was super excited. So I was like, "Oh my god, I love you!" And she was like, "Everybody hates you." I was like, "No, no, I love you." But I got this because I had wanted her
Oh,
to sign it because I wanted to support. I saw her there, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I
Yes.
definitely want to buy this for her because I want to support her." So it's just such an easy thing to do to like get caught up in
I
wanting
need to
to.
read that one.
Hey, I got your book.
Yeah.
I can't find Bowen's, but let me find her on Instagram. I for some reason I can't find this book, and I know I bought it. Right? I had her sign it. Bowen. Here it is.
Oh,
Author
Sabrina.
L.K. Bowen. It's
Oh,
called
not
For
Sabrina Gordon.
Worse. For Worse.
Or worse.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, it's about some woman who's losing her eyesight or something, and she joins some
Oh,
kind of like online group and ends up, I don't know, like finding out that she's like in a destructive relationship or something like that. It sounded really good, but I bought that book
whoa.
too, and I talked to her. But
Yeah.
That sounds
yeah,
good too.
yeah.
Last year, Ivy Pacoda was there, and I bought her book because she was on a panel, and
Hmm.
I'd never heard of her before, and it was my favorite book I read last year. Sing Her
What was it
Down.
called? Who was
Sing
it?
Her
What
Down.
was it?
Sing Her Down by Ivy
Okay.
Pacoda. So
I'm like
yeah, my
typing all
absolute
these
favorite
into
book.
like Amazon as you talk. Okay.
But I would never have found it if I didn't go to ThrillerFest because like it just was not anywhere on my radar anywhere. And then yeah, she was there, and I was like, oh, I'll see what this is, and loved it, loved it.
It was
What
good.
was
I read
what
it
was
too
the
last year.
What was the one that
Okay,
you just showed again about the spy? Hold that up again one more time. Q,
the
hold it up.
Syndicate Spy.
The Syndicate. I'm just typing this in because that looked
That
really
sounds
good.
amazing.
Syndicate
Hmm.
Spy. Okay. I'm
Yeah,
okay. All right. Cool. All right.
yeah. So
Yeah, the
anyway, I
character
was
arcs in Sing Her Down though were so. That's what I remember. The way the character arcs crossed and ended, I was like, whoa.
it was it's visceral. That book is
Yeah.
visceral and like when talking about feminine rage, like that's what I felt like was very
Yes.
like obvious there, but then also not just feminine rage, but then a female being like aggressive and angry and stuff, which you usually don't see because there usually is like some sort of other motivation. It's a revenge plot, it's a whatever.
Hmm.
But like those characters weren't necessarily like that. So it was just
No,
so good. It's brilliant.
it was so good. I just remember it was
Yeah,
hot everywhere though, and I was like, oh my god. The atmosphere was so hot in that
very
book.
hot. And it's like set during the pandemic. So Lori, two
Yeah.
prisoners are released from a prison in Arizona early because of the
Okay.
pandemic. They're supposed to stay in the States, but then they end up leaving. One leaves, the other one follows her. And so it's
Uh-huh.
like a whole kind of chase, whatever. They end up in downtown LA where there's like, nobody's there, all this stuff. It's so super atmospheric as well.
Yeah.
So good. So good.
All right.
Yes. It's on Goodreads. They even calls it a feminist western, and it is such a
Woo.
western.
Woo.
Yeah.
That's a great way to
It's
describe
a,
it. It's really good.
yeah. I remember
I
finishing
like
it and being
that.
like, yeah, that was a western.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Love that.
Yeah, it was
But
good.
yeah, it's
I
so
was,
easy. Like that's where you just like I don't know. That I always try to pick, I always pick up something new or find an author I've never heard of or something like that from this event,
hmm
which is pretty cool.
yeah.
And look at, like, I'm doing this right now. While you guys are talking, I've got Amazon open on my other screen, and I'm just like pulling these books up, like left and right,
Yes.
So when I'm done,
So
I can
many
go check
good
them out.
ones.
Yeah.
Maybe
It's like the
that was
last thing I
probably
need to
smarter.
do. Yeah.
But I think it's smarter you're doing it that way. I had to like last year I had to ship my box of books home, and so that
Okay.
was an extra expense. And this year I ended up carrying it like on a carry-on, and in my luggage it was a whole thing. I got real close to being overweight, and I was like, "Can I get another book in? Can I get another book in?" For my check bag. I was like, I don't want to carry all these around. So
Yeah.
but
Goodness.
Then
it's
there's,
easy to do because you want everyone to sign them.
Yes.
right.
Yeah.
Well, do you have any other random things that come to mind that I didn't ask you about? You don't have to, obviously.
I don't
New
know.
York is fun. If you've never been to New York, I would say
Mhm.
it is a different energy. I was at the first year that I went. I was, like I said, was just barely starting to write a book. Like I was totally coming in as a reader, fan kind of thing.
Hmm.
And between all of that excitement and then just the excitement of New York, the hotels that are at, and I think the new one too will be near Times Square. So there's a lot of
Uh-huh.
energy that's there, which is really fun. And if you're from I'm from a very, very small town. I grew up in a really small town in southern Arizona, so it's such a different, so different. So that
Yeah.
in itself is really cool. And then, there are other events that happen outside of ThrillerFest. For example, Source Books throws a cocktail party, I think on Thursday or some Friday or Thursday, something like that. And that is like, really well attended by people, and bookscribers can go, readers can go, things like that. There's lots, like a lot of the industry kind of do some things around that time because all the authors and stuff are in town. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. That's good to know.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, I've never been to New York, so I'm sure it will be a very different
Oh,
experience.
it would be very different. It's very
Yeah.
frenetic, is what I would say. Like
Yeah.
it's very a lot of frenetic energy,
Hmm.
but it's really cool. And then we're right in Times Square, so you're right where all the Broadway places. So definitely went and saw a show, which is fun. Most people
Nice.
that I know have been like picking up a show once or twice during the week.
Yeah, that is. I love it. Well, thank you guys for both talking about your experience. I
Thank
love
you
all of the
so
random
much.
stories.
Well, thanks for having us. Yeah, and if anyone of your listeners, if they have questions about the event, I'm always happy to answer any questions about my experience or can help direct you to people who can give you answers. So,
Yeah, me too. Me too.
I
Feel
can do
free
that.
to reach out. Yeah.